Hi, hello viewers. It's Smile a Minute IAS Academy, and today we are going to discuss some basics on economics. So, economics have static as well as dynamic topics. So, static topics can be discussed today, whereas dynamic topics are topics that are related to current affairs. We can see it in some other class. So, we should lay the foundation first, right? So, we should know the basics of economics before starting. So, whatever subject you study, you should start with the basics so that you can learn the further topics. So, let us start with basics of economics. So, let us discuss about the economics. We can see the economics introduction, we can see colonial economy, we can see independent economy, how we have chosen our economy as mixed economy. So Indian economy is mixed economy, how we have chosen that and what is mixed economy, and we can also see the national income. So our country has an income and that income is national income. So what is national income can be discussed, and let us also see about inflation topic. So inflation is money is getting losing its value, and that is called as inflation. Let us discuss what is inflation, and we can also see 5-year plan. We earlier had 5-year plan, right? So we can also discuss about that 5-year plan, and these are the basic things which we can discuss today. Okay, let us start our class. Okay, so first, economics can be economic can be divided into two. It can be divided into macroeconomics as well as microeconomics. So macroeconomics deals about the deals in a country level, it deals about the entire population, whereas microeconomy, it deals about a certain group of population. Say it deals about individual, and that is microeconomics. So if a country, if we speak it as a country, if we speak about the economy as a whole about a country, then it is macroeconomics. For microeconomics, say women are purchasing online things in this way, so something related to a certain group of people, then it comes under microeconomics. So companies like e-commerce companies like Flipkart, Amazon will study this microeconomics to know about their customers, whereas our country as a whole will study about the macroeconomics. So these are the types of economy. So apart from this, we have another two types, and those are capitalist economy as well as socialist economy. Capitalist economy is an economy in which the most of the things will be lying in private hands, public hands. Sorry, capitalist economy is an economy in most of the things which will be in private hands. Say in USA, most of the companies will be run by the private sector, whereas in socialist economy, most of the things will be in public hands only, which means most of the things will be handled by the government only, and that is socialist economy. These are other two types. So capitalist economy, for example, we can say USA is a capitalist economy, and for socialist economy we can say Russia is a socialist economy, and other examples of Cuba is also a socialist economy, and North Korea is also a socialist economy. These are the types. So simple. And then what is Indian economy? What is the economy which India is following? We are not following capitalist economy, as well as we are not following socialist economy. Then what is Indian economy? You can have a question. Our economy is mixed. Our economy is a mix of both capitalist as well as social economy. Say our economy is called as mixed economy, in which both private as well as public coexist. Say we are going in a bus. We have both private bus as well as public bus. We are having both private hospital as well as public hospitals, right? Both many facilities will be available in both private side as well as in public side. Say we have colleges. In colleges we have both private colleges as well as public colleges. So in our economy, it is a mixed economy in which private as well as public, government sector as well as private sector will exist side by side. That is mixed economy. And why we have chosen mixed economy? Actually, what is the reason to choose mixed economy? You can have this question. Actually, before independence, we are a colonial economy. So what is colonial economy? Colonial economy is an economy in which our economy will serve for another country. So in our case, our Indian economy served for the British economy. So that is colonial economy, and during that period we had an option to select what economy we should choose after independence. After independence we can select our own economy, right? So we had an option. Some people, some leaders, some political leaders as well as some freedom fighters or socialist supporters, and some more capitalist supporters. The socialist supporter people are Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose. Nehru as well as Subhash Chandra Bose are socialist persons, and Patel. Patel is a capitalism person. So Nehru as well as Subhash Chandra Bose is socialist, whereas Patel is capitalist. And also some other companies. There are some companies which existed before independence also. Example for that is Bajaj. Bajaj is a company that existed before independence also. So the company Bajaj is supported capitalism because they are a private sector, right? So they wanted to exist. So because of that, they chose capitalism. And because of all these confusions, some people are supporting socialism and some people are supporting capitalism. So because of this, we had a confusion, and we have gone with mixed economy in which both socialist can exist as well as capitalist, both private can exist as well as public can exist. So that is why we have chosen mixed economy. So why many people are getting attracted towards socialist economy? During that period, most of the freedom fighters are attracted towards the socialist economy. The reason for that is 1929 to 1930, there is a economic crisis. In 1929 to 1930, the great economic crisis happened, and during that economic crisis, the whole world suffered. Not a single country, whole world suffered during that period. So except one country, the whole world suffered except one country, and that country is Russia. So Russia alone escaped from the whole great economic crisis, and that attracted many independent fighters, many political leaders. So the reason why it escaped is they thought Russia is the one which followed socialist economy. By following socialist economy, Russia escaped. So most of them had this thought, and that is why they got attracted towards socialism. Actually, the reason is Russia had a plan called as 6-year plan. So earlier we followed 5-year plan, right? This is like inspired from Russia only. So Russia earlier had 6-year plan in which they will make a plan for 6 year and they will try to implement it within that 6 year. So because of all these things, Russia escaped. So because of this only, many of the leaders and the freedom fighters got attracted to this socialism, and we have certain theories which are related to this private as well as public, socialist and capitalism. Let us discuss about those theories. And first one is laissez-faire theory. Laissez-faire theory. So laissez-faire theory is a non-interfere policy. So laissez-faire theory is a non-interfere policy in which government should not interfere. In laissez-faire theory, government should not interfere, which means if there is a price hike, if there is any struggle, if there is any economy change, if there is inflation or anything, government should not interfere in that. This is what said in laissez-faire theory, which means it can affect the poor. If government did not interfere, it will affect the poor, right? So laissez-faire theory is in favor of capitalism. So laissez-faire theory is in favor of capitalism. So opposite to that of laissez-faire theory is actually about laissez-faire theory. It is said by Adam Smith. Adam Smith is the one who said laissez-faire Adam Smith is the one who has said laissez-faire theory, and Adam Smith is the father of economic. So father of economy is Adam Smith, and he is the one who said laissez-faire theory. So this means he is in favor of capitalism, and he has written a book. Adam Smith has written a book which is called as Wealth of Nation. Adam Smith has written a book called as Wealth of Nation. In this book, Wealth of Nation, he has said a theory, and that theory is laissez-faire theory, which means non-interfere policy. Non-interfere policy, government should not interfere, and which means laissez-faire theory is in favor of capitalism. Then we have another theory, and that theory is John Keynes theory. So John Keynes theory is opposite of laissez-faire theory. So John Keynes theory tells that government should interfere. So John Keynes theory tells of government should interfere, which means that it is in favor of socialism. John Keynes theory is in favor of socialism. So what is interference of government? You can have this question, right? So interference is nothing but if there is a price hike. Say now we have onions. There is a price hike in onions. Onions are sold for around 200 rupees. Say onions are sold for around 200 rupees, and many people can't afford onion for this 200 rupees. So in that point of time, our government will interfere, and our government will buy these onions from the private, and they will store it and they will sell it. So they will buy it in 200 rupees, and this government will procure all those onions for 200 rupees, and they will sell it for 50 rupees. Say they will sell it for 50 rupees in a shop called as ration shop. We have ration shop or fair price shop, right? In ration shop, government will sell it for 50 rupees so that everyone can afford. So in this onion story, government has interfered and it has bought the onions and it has sold for us. It has sold it in a subsidized price so that we can afford, and that interference is what's said here. So John Keynes' theory said that government should interfere. For example, we can have onion price hike. This is an example, and this is in favor of socialism. And then we have another theory which is related to this demand and supply. So why this onion price hiked? You may have a question that why this onion price is hiked, and the reason for this hike is mainly the demand and the supply. Actually, during rainy season, say there is so much rain, most of the onions will be rotten. Onions will be underground, right? So most of the onions will be affected by this rain, and it will be the supply will be reduced. The onion production will be reduced, and this production will be reduced, and this affects supply. So the supply of the onions to the market will also be reduced. So if the supply has been reduced, then the price rises. This is the one major thing which you should remember. If the supply reduces, price increases. Say during rainy season only, during rainy season, the production of onions will be affected, because if there is a maximum amount of rain, if there is a major rain, if there is flooding, the production of onion will be disturbed. Most of the onion will get rotten, and that will affect the production of the onion. If the production is affected, then automatically the supply of the onion to the market will also get affected, and the supply of the onion will get reduced. If the supply of the onion get reduced, then say if there is 10 kilos of onion, generally there will be 10 kilos of onion which will be supplied to market. If in this point of time, if there is only 1 kilo of onion is supplied to the market, then if there is only 10 people in the city, and each person needs 1 kilo of onion. If there is 10 kilo of onions available, then each person can buy this 10 kilo. There is no problem. If there is only 1 kilo of onion, then each and every one needs this 1 kilo of onion. So in that case, the seller will increase the price so that the person who is having more money will buy that. So if the supply is reduced, then automatically price will be increased. This is demand and supply theory. So, demand and supply theory says that if the supply has been reduced, then automatically price will be increased. And another one thing is, if the demand has been reduced, price will be increased. So, how we can say demand is reduced and price is increased? So, demand reduced, price increased. Supply reduces, also price increases. So, say if the onion is sold for 200 rupees. If the onion is sold for 200 rupees, most of the people can't afford that. So the demand will be reduced. So if the onion is sold for only 1 rupee, all the people in the town will rush to the market and will try to buy the market. So the demand will be increased. So if the price is reduced. If the onion is sold for say 2000 rupees, no one will go to market because they know they can't afford. So the demand will be reduced if the price is increased, and also if the supply is reduced, price will be increased. This is what's said in demand and supply theory. Then we can see about the characteristics of Indian economy. So what are the characteristics of Indian economy? First point is, in our India we have around 60% of the population are dependent on agriculture only. So the predominant work in our country is agriculture only. So around 60% of the people is depending on agriculture, which means that most of the people are working only in agriculture. Still their life is dependent on agriculture. And second point is, we are a most populated country. Our population is the second most populous country in the world, only after China. So China is the first populous country. After China, we are in the second position. Then third point is, 1/4 of our population is still in poverty, which means around 20% of our population is still in poverty. So poverty, which means below poverty line. Say for an ideal living, some amount of money is needed. So if a person is having less than that amount of money, then it is said that he is in poverty. So around 20% of our country's population are still in poverty. And lack of capital and investment. There is a lack of capital. Capital is money. So money or the capital, the thing which is needed to start a business, capital and investment is still lacking. So the lack of capital and investment in India. and also unutilization of resources. India is a country which is very much rich in resources, so we are not still utilizing all the resources so efficiently, so the unutilization of the resources also exists in India. So these are the major characteristics of the Indian economy. And let us discuss about the colonial economy first. So as I have already said, before independence we had colonial economy, and colonial economy is nothing but our economy is serving for another nation. During that we faced many struggles, and by that only still our economy is not so much improved, so we are just recovering from it. Okay, so that we should know what is colonial economy is. So colonial economy means our resources will be utilized by the British. Say we have cotton, so in our India more amount of cotton will be produced, so we have more amount of cotton, and that cotton will be collected by the Britishers, and the Britishers will use that cotton to produce finished products. Say they will produce a shirt, and they will sell that shirt in the market. They will sell that shirt in India itself. Say in our India we use handicraft products, so we use cloth which are weaved by our native people, right? So the cotton will be used to produce a cloth, right? So the cloth will be weaved by our native handicraft workers. So in that if the cloth is say 500 rupees, the Britishers are using industrialized, they are using machine to produce that piece of cloth. So the Britishers will sell it for 50 rupees. How they can sell it for 50 rupees? Because the raw material, the cotton, is obtained from us. So they will obtain the cotton in very low cost or without any cost, and they will produce shirt. So they don't need much money to produce it, right? So because of that they sell in a very very low price. So because of this difference in cost, we all go for this British product, and this will affect our economy. So our native producers will be affected by this, and this is the basic thing which happened during colonial economy also. During colonial economy also, most of the cotton has been transferred to the Britishers. Britishers will take away our cotton, they will produce the finished products. So we are just a supplier of raw material. So cotton is a raw material, so we are just a supplier of raw material, and the finished product, say cloth. So cloth will be a finished product, right? We will buy that finished product. So we became a supplier of raw material and a consumer of finished product. This is the one which happened during our colonial economy. And one important fact relating to India is, before Britishers came, our economy is around 24%. Our economy done 24% contribution to the world GDP. Say in world 100% world GDP, 24% world GDP is from India only. So it done 24% world contribution to the GDP when the before Britishers came. But when Britishers left, our world contribution is only 3%. So see the difference. So this is what Britishers done to India. So we should remember the difference and how this major transformation, right, from 24% to 3% means it is a major transformation. How this happened? So there are many reasons for this. Let us discuss those reasons one by one. First one is revenue policy. The revenue policy of British made us poor. So the revenue policies like Permanent Settlement Act, Mahalwari system, Rayatwari system, many systems which are introduced by Britishers. The revenue policies which are introduced by Britishers made India poor. First, and second one is home charges. So home charges is, say in home charges, let us say a British person is residing in British itself, and he should be paid a salary, right? He is working in England and he should be paid a salary, and the amount of salary he should be paid will be obtained from India. So India will pay for his salary. So he is working for Britishers and he is working in England, but still India will pay the money, and that is called as home charges. So England will get a loan. Say England is getting some loan, and that loan will also be paid from India only. So that is home charges. So So Indian money will be used for British expenditure. Simply we can say Indian money. The money from India will be used for British expenditure, and that is called as home charges. So simple example is a person is working in England and his salary will be obtained from India. If England get any loan, and that will be paid from India, and that is called as home charges. So second reason is home charges. So this is all explained in certain books also. And then the third reason is guarantee system. Now also we have guarantee system, and the guarantee system is nothing but if there is a loss, if a private is running something, and if there is a loss for private, then the government will pay for it. For example, let us say, so Britishers are the one who led trains to India, right? They introduced trains to India. They introduced trains, but if there is a loss, in for railways, then our government will pay for that, so that our money will be going. Example for this in nowadays we can say toll gate. Toll gate is one best example. In toll gate, this will be public private partnership. So private, it will be given to private hands, and if there is any loss in maintenance of the toll gate, then the government will pay for it. So this is guarantee system. This also affected our economy, and there are certain books which tells about all these British policies and British things which affected India. So let us discuss about those books, and they can ask about those books as an match type questions during your prelims exam. And the first one is drain of wealth. First one is drain of wealth is a concept. So drain of wealth concept is by Dadabhai Naoroji. It explains about how our wealth is drained, how our wealth is used for Britishers, which will be explained in drain of wealth, and it is by Dadabhai Naoroji. So it is by Dadabhai Naoroji. And then we have economic history of India. Economic history of India is by R.C. Dutt. So economic history of India is by R.C. Dutt. And then we have Essay of Indian Economy is by M.G. Ranade. Essay of Indian Economy by M.G. Ranade. Then we have England's Depth India. England's Depth India is by Lala Lajpat Rai. England's Depth India is by Lala Lajpat Rai. Then we have Poverty Problem in India. Poverty Problem in India is by P.C. Roy. And then Nation Income of India and Planned Economy of India. Two books, Nation Income of India as well as Planned Economy of India. It is by V.K. R.V. Rao. These are some of the books, and in that Economic History of India by R.C. Dutt, this one already asked the question, and Drain of Wealth by Dadabhai Naoroji is also an already asked question. So these are the basic things which are relating to colonial economy, and certain basic things which are relating to economy. So say, what is economy? So we have discussed economy for a long period of time. So what is economy, and when this economy concept of economy started? So economy is nothing but it is the utilization of resources, how we utilize our resources, and it is surrounded by resources, right? It deals about the resources and how we utilize it. So if it deals about the resources, how and when economy concept started, so you can have this doubt. So we can say economy is introduced when coins are introduced. So if coins are introduced only, economy is introduced means earlier, before introduction of coins are introduced during early Vedic period, we can say. But coins are introduced during later Vedic period, but during early Vedic period itself, we have a concept called as barter system. In barter system, things will be exchanged. Say, how things will be exchanged? Say you are having a bag of wheat and you need rice. So some person is having a bag of rice, and this wheat you will give, and he is in need of wheat. So he will give this rice to you, and he will obtain this wheat from you. So the exchange of goods, and it doesn't have money. You don't have money during this system. The exchange of goods is called as barter system. So this also prevailed. So during this period also there is resource, right? You are dealing with about resources, right? So here also economy exists. So when economy started, is it started during barter system? We can say that economy started from the Stone Age itself. From the Indus Valley civilization period onwards, economy started. How we can see this? During that period, first at the moment we started pottery, so we started pottery, right? So the moment we introduced pottery, economy started. So how we can say this is, when pottery is invented, we started to save our resources. The saving of resources has been started when pottery has been invented. When pottery has been invented, we started to save our resource for future use. That moment itself, we started the concept of economy, and that is when economy started. And what are these resources? I am saying it as a resource. What are these resources? We can say food is also one of the resource, right? So food is also one of the resource, and there are also some other resources. Money is also one of the resource. So we have many things as resources. We can classify resources as abundant and scarce. So abundant means if it is available in plenty, then that resource is abundant. If it is scarce means then that resource is available in very low amount only. So for abundant resource, we can say example as air. Air is an abundant resource. So air is also a resource. We produce wind energy from air, right? So air is also a resource, but that is available in plenty. For scarce resource, we can say gold and diamond. So gold and diamond are scarce resource because of its availability only. Its price varies. So the scarce resource is having high price. Simply, you can remember the demand and supply theorem. For scarce resource, the supply is reduced. As supply is reduced, price is increased. For abundant resource, the supply is high. Because of the supply is high, the price will be low. For air, the price is no price, right? So if the supply is abundant, it has low price or no price, whereas if the supply is low, then it has high price. These are the things which are relating to resource. Then we can also classify the resource as natural and man-made. For natural resource, we can say cotton. So cotton is a natural resource. And for man-made resources, we have many things. Car is also a man-made resource. We have car. We have many things. We have cloth. Cloth is a man-made resource. So many things which are man-made. And we also have monetary as well as non-monetary resource. For example, for monetary resource, monetary is money. For example, we have coins as well as currencies. Coins and currencies come under monetary resource. For example, for non-monetary resources, we have all other things other than money comes under non-monetary resources. These are the things relating to resources. And there is one saying by Adam Smith in his book Wealth of Nation, and that is, the thing which has the greatest value in use will have frequently little or no value in exchange. Which means that, for example, we can say air. Air is a thing which has greatest value in use, but it has frequently little or no value in exchange. Which means that we need air to survive, we need air to live, but still air is not having any much value, right? We are any much exchange value, right? So we can't sell air for rupees of 100 or something. So that means that the thing which have the greatest value in use, it is having a greatest value in use, but still it has frequently little or no value in exchange. For example, we can say air. And another one is, on contrary, we can say the thing which has greatest value in exchange. For example, we can say a diamond. So diamond is having greatest value in exchange, but it has frequently little or no value in use. It has greatest value in exchange, but still there is no use. What? We can use it as an ornament, but apart from that, we don't have much use from diamond, right? So this is one statement which is said in Adam Smith in his Wealth of Nations. And okay, we have seen about resources and scarce resource, abundant resource, and the value as well as exchange we have discussed. Then what are the factors of production? So we need to produce something. There are certain things which comes under the factors of production, and those are, we have 1 minute. Factors of production is, first one is land. We need land, we need labor are the people who are working, and then we need capital. Capital is the amount of money which is needed to start a business or something, and then we need a person to handle all this, an entrepreneur, we can see. But simply what I am saying is, remember M3. M3 means it is men, money and material. So first one is, you can say labor as men, capital as money, and then you need material. In material itself, you can hold all the things, all the raw materials that is needed, land, everything, the raw material that is needed comes under material. So men, money, material are the factors of production. These three are needed to produce something. Say if you are planning to produce sugar, you are planning to produce sugar, then you need sugar cane. Sugar cane is the first requirement, and sugar cane, we can say sugar cane as a material. And you need a machine, and you need a machine to crush this sugar cane and produce this sugar, and that machine can be bought with money. So this is material, this is money, it can be bought with money. Then you need persons, who will operate these machines, and then those persons are the men. So you need men, money as well as material to produce this sugar. So this is the case of everything. So production is you are producing something, right? So in case of sugar, you need sugar cane, a machine to crush this sugar cane and produce the juice, and a person to operate this machine and produce sugar. So these are the factors of production. And then we have one thing called as ceteris paribus. What is this ceteris paribus? So what is this ceteris paribus? Ceteris paribus nothing but all other variable being unchanged or constant. So if I am saying as demand and supply theory, in demand and supply theory, I am just talking about the demand as well as the supply. So I am not talking about anything else. I am talking about demand, supply and price only. So in that case, I am keeping all other variables as constant, and that is called as ceteris paribus. In ceteris paribus, all other variables apart from the thing which is taken will be kept as constant, will be thought as unchanged, and that is called as ceteris paribus. These are the things which are relating to basics of economy. Then we have another one example only. It is muslin. Muslin is a type of cotton textile which is its origin is from Bengal, particularly now in Bangladesh, Dhaka. Dhaka is a place in Bangladesh in which a cloth called as muslin is produced. Actually in olden times also they produced it, and the cloth which is produced from the finest variety of muslin is called as malmal. Malmal is the finest variety of muslin, and the foreigners refer to it as malmal shahi or malmal khas, which means it is implying it is fit for royalty only. So in our olden times we are great in agri as well as in handicrafts only. So muslin is also one such example, right? So during those period, during our British rule, they crushed this handicraft industry by introducing their crops. So for example, as we say muslin is one example. During ancient time, the foreigners refer to this as malmal shaki, which means it fit for royalty. These are the things which are relating to the basics. And then let us discuss about the sectors of the economy. What are the sectors in economy? We have three sectors in economy. First one is primary sector, second is secondary, and then is tertiary. So primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. We can say tertiary sector also as service sector. So in primary sector, what are the things in primary? What are the things in primary sector? In primary sector, we have raw materials as nature. The things that are exploited from nature directly comes under primary sector. Say cotton is produced from the nature directly, right? It is exploited directly from nature. It comes under primary sector. Say tea leaves. Tea leaves comes under primary sector. And we have apple. Apple also comes under primary sector. The wheat, rice, everything comes under the primary sector. So the things that are directly obtained from nature comes under primary sector. Apart from all this, we have other things like by mining we produce certain things, right? By mining we obtain certain things. So that also comes under primary sector only. So the occupations in these are, first one is all these are obtained from agri. So agri comes under primary sector, and this is by mining. By mining we obtain gold. So mining also we are exploiting nature from it, right? So mining also comes under primary sector. Apart from this, we have animal husbandry. Animal husbandry, we use animals to produce milk, right? So animal husbandry also comes under primary sector. These are some of the occupations in primary sector. Example, agri, mining, animal husbandry. Forestry also can be said in primary sector. Then secondary sector. In secondary sector we have things that are produced in primary sector will be used. For example, let us say cotton itself. So cotton is Cotton is a thing which is obtained from primary sector. We are using this cotton to produce a finished product, say that is cloth. So this cloth is produced from this primary sector product, right? So this cloth production sector will come under secondary sector. For example, we can say industries, all manufacturing industries will come under the secondary sector. We can also say sugar industry. In sugar industry, sugar cane will be used as a raw material. Sugar cane is a thing that is obtained from the primary sector, and using sugar cane we will produce sugar. So sugar is a thing which is obtained from manufacturing, right? We use the sugar cane to manufacture sugar, and that sugar industry will also fall under the secondary sector. So all the manufacturing sectors, all the manufacturing industries will come under secondary sector. And after that, we have another sector called as tertiary sector. In tertiary sector, it is called as service sector. For services, we can see we have injection, right? So that injection, doctor is the one who can give injections. So doctor is the one who do that service, and doctors will come under tertiary sector. We can say IT persons are the one who are capable of doing work relating to laptops and computers, right? So these IT persons will also come under the tertiary sector, and these are the things which are relating to the tertiary sector. It is a service sector. For transportation, the transportation is also a service. So this transportation service also comes under the tertiary sector. Tourism is also a service. All this comes under the tertiary sector. Apart from all these basic three services, we have another two services. The basic one of primary, secondary and tertiary. Apart from that, we have another two, and that is quaternary sector. We have quaternary sector. Quaternary sector is also called as knowledge sector. So if I say knowledge sector, in quaternary sector there is a need for knowledge, and knowledge should be used, and that is quaternary sector. For example, for that is we can say lawyer will come under quaternary sector. So lawyer, there is a need for knowledge for lawyers, right? So lawyers come under quaternary sector. So quaternary sector is also called as knowledge sector. And apart from that, we have another sector called as quinary sector. Quinary sector are the high level jobs. Say if I say high level jobs, simply I can remember judges. So judges are high level jobs. Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So high level jobs come under the quinary sector. So for that you can remember judges. So these are the basic sectors of economy, and then we can discuss about the color jobs. We have certain color jobs, and those are, we can discuss about each color, and I will explain what is the person. So what is the job which is related to it? Red is related to agri as well as hunting and fishing. Red is related to agri, hunting and fishing, and black is related to mining and oil industry. Black is related to mining and oil industry, whereas blue is relating to manual workers. It is also, for example, we can say sweepers. So sweepers come under blue. So manual workers come under blue color jobs, and white or higher official. So if you are a higher official, you come under white collar job. Then a pink are the low paid workers. So they are low paid, or we can also say them as assistant. So low paid workers and assistant come under pink color jobs. For example, you can say receptionist come under pink color jobs. Then we have yellow color workers. So yellow color workers are nothing but, if they are working in film industry, then they come under yellow color jobs. It is not only hero, director, assistant director, and everyone who are relating to film industry will come under yellow color jobs. When we have orange color sector, for orange we have prison employees. So prison employees come under orange color. And then we have no color workers. A person not working for money will come under no color. A person not working for money will come under no color, which means we can say housewife is not working for money, right? They are doing something and they are not working for money, they come under no color. As well as NGOs are also having some job to do, but they are not getting money for that, and those people come under no color jobs. And then we have gold colors, high skilled persons come under gold color. For that you can remember quinary sector members. For example, you can remember judge comes under gold color. Then we have green color, person who is working related to forest department as well as environment come under green color. So environment is green, right? So you can remember forest and environment as green. So person who is working related to that will come under green color workers. And another one is gray are the one who are relating to IT workers. So IT workers come under gray color jobs. And open color are the job searching persons. If you are not having a job and if you are searching for it, then you come under open color jobs. So these are the things which are relating to color jobs of economy. Then we can discuss about the national income. So what is national income? So national income is our economy, our country is producing something and it has an income, right? So the economy, the income of the country comes under the national income. So let us calculate national income. There are many terms relating to this. Let us see one by one. First one is GDP. We have GNP, we have NDP, NNP, we have NNP-FC as well as NNP-MC. FC is nothing but NNP factor cost and NNP market cost. Then we have per capita income. Then we have personal income as well as disposable income. These are the basic terms which are relating to national income. Let us see those things one by one. So first is, what is economic growth? So we are seeing this economic growth term, right? So what is this economic growth? So economic growth is nothing but a percentage of GDP increasing. So GDP has been increasing. If the GDP is increasing, then it is economic growth. The percentage of GDP increasing simply specifies economic growth. But what is economic development? Economic growth and economic development are two different terms. So what term is preferred is economic development is more preferred than compared to that of economic development. So in case of development, we have GDP growth. There will be growth in GDP as well as we have social development. So we need social development side by side, right? So social development plus increase in the GDP together called as economic development, whereas the economic growth means only the percentage of GDP increasing is called as GDP growth. And this is the basic difference which you should know. So first let us discuss the terms one by one. GDP, GNP, all those things. First, what is GDP? So GDP is the gross domestic product. In gross domestic product, GDP, the final value of goods and services produced within a country or within a domestic area is calculated. For example, if there are foreigners inside the country, then their earning is also added in this case. So example, we have GDP. In GDP, the citizens earn around 80 rupees. So the citizens earned amount 80 is added, plus there are certain foreigners inside India, and the amount of amount that is earned by the foreigners is also added. Say they earn around 20 rupees. That is added to count the GDP. So remember this point clearly. So in GDP, the amount that is produced by foreigners within the geographical boundary of India is added, and the amount which is produced within India is added. Say if someone is residing outside India, he is called as NRI, right? So he is residing outside India and his amount is not added in this case. So amount of money which is earned within this country boundary is added. We can say whether he is citizen or not citizen, it is added. So 80 is from the amount of money which is earned by Indians within India, and 20 is from foreigners who reside within India but they are not Indians. So GDP is 100. So remember this first. Then what is GNP? So GDP is gross domestic product, simply the amount which is produced within the domestic area, within the geographical boundary. In GNP, it is gross national product, in that the final value of goods and services produced by the citizen of a nation. Say the citizens of nation, there are around certain amount of people who are from India. So the amount which are produced by the citizen of a nation is added. So which means some people will go outside India. They will reside outside India. Say we have NRIs. They will work in some other countries like Saudi Arabia, America or some other countries, and they will earn the money, but they are citizens of our country, right? Their earnings will be added and foreign earnings will not be added. So some people will reside inside India but they are not citizens of India. Their earnings will not be added in case of GNP. Say we have 80. Earlier we had 80. 80 is the amount of earnings which are earned by Indians within India itself, and we had 20 which are earned by the foreigners, right? And that 20 will not be added. This NRI earn around 30 rupees, say, then that 30 is added, which means it is around 110. It's just an example, which means amount of money which is earned by Indians within India plus the amount of money which is earned by NRI is equal to GNP. In other terms, we can say that GDP, in GDP I have said 100. So amount of money in GNP is equal to, we can say it as GDP minus foreigners inside India. Foreigners inside India earned around 20 rupees in our case, plus citizens outside India, say NRI. So if I say in this manner, then it means 100 minus 20 plus 30. So this is also giving the same answer, 110. So this formula is GNP is equal to citizens inside India plus citizens outside India. We can also say it as GNP is equal to GDP minus foreigners inside India plus Indian citizens outside India. So this is the formula of GNP. Then what is this NDP and NNP? So NDP is nothing but the net domestic product. So if you are using something, there will be something called as depreciation. Depreciation is nothing but the wear and tear of the product. So the depreciation will be deducted. So say if you are using a computer for around 10 years, after 10 years it needs replacement, right? So if say the computer cost is around 50,000, after 10 years the 50,000 is set as a capital. So after 10 years you need to invest again that 50,000, right? So the depreciation which is caused by the usage, usage you will have a depreciation, and that depreciation is called as wear and tear. So you will calculate a wear and tear and you will depreciate it. So for 10 years there is 50,000 you are having a depreciation, and then you should distribute this 50,000 for each year, and that is called as depreciation, and that depreciation will be deducted from the GDP. So NDP is nothing but GDP minus depreciation. So GDP minus depreciation is NDP. Then we have another term called as NNP. NNP is the net national product. It is calculated from the gross national product. So NNP here, NNP means GNP minus depreciation, in which gross national product is calculated. From that depreciation is subtracted. So that is NNP. So this can be said in factor cost as well as market cost. Say factor cost, the cost, okay, let us discuss that. Factor cost as well as market cost. First, in this NNP means we have GNP around 110. For each year there is a depreciation. Say the depreciation amount will be around 10. If I subtract this 10, I will obtain a amount, right? This is NNP, which means that NNP and GNP will not be equal, and NNP will always be lesser than GNP, because practically always there will be a depreciation. In ideal state, there we can say there is no depreciation, but practically there will always be a depreciation, and the depreciation will be subtracted, so that GNP will always be NNP will always be lesser than GNP. So first, let us discuss about NNPFC. In NNPFC, the net national product is calculated in factor cost. If I say factor cost is the cost needed to produce that product. So let us say, take the same example. We have cotton, and that cotton is converted into shirt. To produce this shirt, we are investing an amount of around 50 rupees. Then this 50 is the factor cost. But if you are taking this shirt and if you are selling it in a market, say in local markets, they will sell the shirt for around 100 rupees. In malls and shopping complexes, they will sell this same shirt for around 500 rupees. So the market cost varies, but the cost of production is always constant, right? So we are taking this NNPFC. So we are taking just, so if I say this 50, this is the amount which is needed to produce this shirt, which means the amount needed to buy this cotton, the amount needed to handle the machine, so amount needed to buy the machine, and the amount needed to hire the men labor force, everything is added, and the factor cost will be calculated. So NNPFC is the one which is used to calculate the national income of the country. So NNPFC is the one which is used to calculate the national income of the country. In this, tax is not included. An important point is tax is not included in this, because the factor, we are including it in factor cost, right? In factor cost you won't include the tax, but in market cost only you will include the tax. So NNPFC is the one which is used to calculate the national income. This is one important point. So national income is nothing but NNPFC is the national income. And then we have NNPMC. Why we have not chosen NNPMC? Let us discuss that. So NNPMC is the market cost. Market cost differs. So shirt may be sold. A same shirt may be sold for 50 rupees in some places, for 500 rupees in some places. It may differ. So because of this difference, we have not chosen. You can expect that. And another one thing is here actually profit is included. In market price, profit will be included with the cost price. Profit plus cost price plus taxes will be included. So the taxes that are imposed by the government will also be included. So if you are calculating the national income based on the market cost, then if the government is trying to improve the national income just by increasing taxes, they can increase, right? So if the taxes is 5%, then the income, national income will be something. If they increase the taxes to 50%, then the national income will also be improved, right? So by changing the taxes, government can change the national income. So because of this fact that market cost is not used to calculate the national income of our country, and the market cost is always volatile, we can't fix it, it is always volatile. Because of all these disadvantages of the NNPMC is not used to calculate the national income of our country. Then we have per capita income. Per capita income is nothing but the national income divided by the population. Per capita income is national income divided by population. Say there are around 100 people in India. There are only 100 people in India. So 100 is the population. So the national income is 100 rupees. So national income is 100 rupees and there are 100 persons in India. So if we divide it, then per capita income is equal to 1, which means that each person in India is earning 1 rupee. So that is per capita income. So per capita income is not accepted as correct one, because let me say that based on the calculation, if you are getting 10k as the income, so per capita income per capita income is equal to the ratio of national income and population. By calculating, we are getting 10k, which means that each and everyone in the country is earning 10,000 rupees. But it is not true. There are certain people who are below poverty line who are not earning that 10,000, and there are certain people who are very rich. There are certain rich millionaires and billionaires who are earning in billions and millions. So they are not earning 10,000. So based on this, we can say exactly, but per capita income is calculated in this manner. It is the calculation in which a national income is divided by the population of the country. So this is what is per capita income. Then we have personal income. Personal income is nothing but it is equal to the salary plus subsidy. The salary which is obtained by that person plus subsidies which are given by the government. Then you can have this doubt, what is subsidy? So what is the subsidy? Subsidies is nothing but central government. If the central government is saying to sell this rice for rupees 3, the central government is selling to sell the rice for rupees 3, and if the state government is paying this 3 rupees to the central government, and if the state government is selling the rice for free, then it means that it is selling it in a subsidized price, and say not free. The center is saying to sell it for rupees 3, but the state is selling it for 1 rupees. Then it simply means that state government has paid 2 rupees for you. So that is the subsidy. So state government or anything, the government will pay some amount of the money in, how to say, they will pay instead of you they will pay the amount, and that is called subsidy. So best example is, you can take ration shops. In ration shops, you are getting rice for rupees say 1. You are getting rice for rupees 1. It doesn't mean the rice of value, the price of the rice is 1. It simply means that the government is paying some amount of money for you. So they will be getting the rice for around 20 rupees, say. The government will pay 19 rupees and they will get just 1 rupees from you. So this 19 rupees is subsidy which is given by the government. So personal income is nothing but the salary plus subsidy. Salary which you are obtaining for your work plus the subsidy which is given by the government. Together is called the personal income. And personal income will not be same for all. So per capita income will be same for all. In a country, per capita income will be same for all. If you are earning 1,000, I am earning 1,000, even a poor is earning 1,000. That is how it is calculated. But personal income will differ from person to person because it depends on the amount of salary which he is receiving. And then we have disposable income. What is this disposable income? Disposable income is equal to personal income minus direct taxes. So direct taxes, if there is a direct taxes is subtracted, then comes disposable income, which means the disposable income or the income which you can use. So you are paying some portion of your amount as the tax to government. By subtracting it, the amount which you are receiving is you can spend it for yourself, right? And that comes under the disposable income. These are the things which are discussed in national income. Then how national income is calculated, we have some other things which we can discuss in detail. So first is we have production method. So production method is the first. 1 minute. Okay, calculation for GDP and GNP. We have production method, income method and expenditure method. There are three methods: production, income and expenditure. First one is production. So in production method, so these are the three methods to calculate the GDP or GNP. So these are the three methods to calculate our national income. First one is production method. Who will calculate the national income? This is one important question. So CSO, Central Statistical Office, is the one which is calculating our national income. So CSO will calculate our national income. And first let us discuss about this production method. In production method, say we are having a basket. In that basket we are having many goods. Say we are having a car, we are having shirts, we are having pen, pencil, everything. We are having certain goods in this basket, and the same goods is filled in this basket also. So same good is filled in this basket also. So this goods, the price of these goods during the base year, say the base year is 2011 to 12. So this is the base year. During this, the price of all these goods is 100. And now this is the current year, say 2021. So in this current year, if we sum up the price of all these values, then it is 110. So this means that there is a 10% growth. Comparing to the base year only they will compare. Comparing to base year, there is a 10% growth in our national income. So that is how it is calculated. Simple, you can remember the sum value of all the goods produced within the country. So for example, if it is pen, it is 10 rupees. If it is car, it is 1 lakh. If it is shirt, it is 1000, say 1k. So then the sum value will be added and it will be compared with the base year. So if it is 110 now, then it will be compared with the base year, and that difference is here it is 10% difference. Here it is 110 and here it is 100. So the 10% difference is the growth in that particular year. So the amount of values which are produced within the country, the sum of the value of all goods produced within the country will be added and it will be compared with the base year to know about the economic growth in case of production method. Coming to the income method, here we have kept all the goods which are produced within the country, and that is one important thing. Coming to income method, we have two baskets. In those baskets we keep all the value of income which was generated. Income which is generated by the people in the country. So we have people. So if I am earning 50k, say you are earning 1 lakh. So some amount of money is earned by you and me, right? So that will be added. Say here the base year is 2011 to 12. Here it is the current year 2021. Here the sum of the income which our country people is receiving will be sum, and if it is 100 rupees, and it will be compared with now. Say here it is 110. Here also 10% growth. So in income method, the sum of the value, the sum of the money which is earned by the people of our country will be calculated, will be summed up to calculate, and that is income method. Here the income is summed up. In production, the sum of the value of goods produced within the country is summed up. Then third method is expenditure. In expenditure, it will sum up the expenditure which is sent by you and me. Here also they have two baskets. Here also we have base year 2011 to 12. Here the base year is 2012. Here the current year is 2021. Here the expenditure which is spent by people of the country will be added. Say if you are spending, expenditure means the amount of money which we are spending to buy something from the market, and that is amount of money which is spent. So say 100, here 108, then it means 8% growth. So this is the difference. So what is the method which we are using is we are using production method. Why we are using production method is that, so in production method the final value of goods, the sum of the value of goods and services produced within the country is added to know about the growth. In income method the amount which is earned is added to know about the growth. In expenditure the amount of money which is spent is added to know about the growth. We can't use expenditure. Why means, to know about the expenditure we should know about the bills. We should have a proper billing system, but in India we still do not have a proper billing system. We buy most of the things from a nearby grocery shops in which we don't have any billing system, so that we can't trace our expenditure. So our government can't trace our expenditure without any proper billing system. So because of this fact we are not using this expenditure method, and we are not using this income method also. The reason because of this is regular income. So what is this regular income? Regular income is the income which our government can track. So the income which our government can track comes under regular income. In India around 50% of the people are only having regular income, which means that apart from this 15%, apart from this 15%, government is not knowing about how they earn, what is their earning. The government is not aware of our earnings. So because of this fact we can't use income method. So that is why we went for production method. So by knowing about the amount of value of the goods and services we can calculate the income, right? So we go for production method. So the contribution of GDP by each and every sector, let us see. So we have primary sector. In primary sector the contribution is around 16%. In secondary sector, the contribution is around 31%, and in tertiary sector, the contribution is around 53%. So the highest contributing sector is tertiary sector. Tertiary sector is the highest contributing sector, whereas primary sector is the least contributing one. It contributes only 16% for the GDP, but in this 16%, only 60% of our country is existing. First, during our first point itself, we have said, while discussing about the characteristics of Indian economy, I have said that around 60% of the Indian people are working in agriculture sector only. So which means that this 60% of people are working and they are producing only this amount, 16%. In this 16%, especially if I want to say about agri, there is around only 4%. So this 60% of people are working to produce only 4% of our GDP contribution. They are working to produce just 4% of our GDP contribution. This is in case of agri. So you should know this difference. And relating to economy, still we shifted towards tertiary sector, right? A high developing country, a developed country will have much of its contribution from tertiary sector only. So India's economy position is fifth. So India is the fifth largest economy in the world. It is based on the GDP. Based on the GDP calculation, India is the fifth largest economy. The first largest one is US, second one is China, and the third one is Japan, fourth one is Germany, and fifth one is India. So third Japan, fourth Germany, fifth India. So India is in fifth position based on the GDP. Then we have another thing called as purchasing power parity. Based on the purchasing power parity, India is in third position, only after US and China. India is in third position. So what is this purchasing power parity? So purchasing power parity is nothing but so if you are purchasing something, say if you are purchasing a bag of goods, so basket of goods. So if you are buying it for 100 rupees in USA, if you are buying this bag of goods for 100 rupees, the same bag of goods can be bought in China for 105 rupees. Say in India, the same bag of goods can be bought for 110 rupees. So slight amount of difference only. So purchasing power is nothing but the ability of the people of our country to purchase that particular product is called as purchasing power parity. So if the America is buying certain amount of goods for 100, then India will buy it for if India is buying for the same 100, means both of them are in the same level in the purchasing parity method. If it is buying lesser than that, based on that we will allocate. So US is in the first position. So if it buy a good, it will be cheap in their place. So 100 rupees. In China it will be 105 and India it will be 110. So this is purchasing power parity, PPP. Purchasing power parity. is the people. People will have the ability to purchase goods. This may say that the product may be cheap or the person have more money. There you can also have a thought. The product may be cheap and the people may have more money. It may be in either cases. And then we have we are talking about national income, right? So the first person to calculate the national income of India is Dadabhai Nehruji. So Dadabhai Nehruji is the first person to calculate the national income of our country, and Dadabhai Nehruji only has written Drain of Wealth, and he is called as the Grand Old Man of India, and his book is his concept is Drain of Wealth, and his book is Poverty and British Rule. Poverty and British Rule is his book, and his concept is the Drain of Wealth. And he is the first person to calculate the national income of India. So he calculated it around 1867 to 1868. He calculated in 1867 to 68, and while he calculated the national income, our India's national income is 200 rupees. It is just 200 rupees while he calculated, and the period is 867 to 868 he will calculate, and the amount he calculated is 200 rupees. And then in 1930 another person will calculate, and he is V.K.R.V. Rao. V.K.R.V. Rao also calculated the national income of India. V.K.R.V. Rao calculated the national income of India during 1930, and he is the first person to calculate the national income scientifically. Dadabhai Nehruji calculated. He is a trader actually. Dadabhai Nehruji is a trader, and he is the first person to calculate the national income, and he calculated in 1867 to 68. And V.K.R.V. Rao is the another one person to calculate the national income, and he calculated in 1930, and he is the first person to calculate the national income scientifically. And his calculation, based on his calculation, the national income is 1659. During 1867 it is 200 rupees. During 1930 it is 1659. So in this 1659 he also calculated the per capita income, and the per capita income is 62 rupees, which means that each person in the country earned 62 rupees during that period. So this is what B.K.R.V. Rao calculated. And the one which is calculating national income is so national income is calculated and published by CSO. So now national income will be calculated and published by CSO. CSO is nothing but Central Statistical Office. It is the Central Statistical Office which calculates the national income, and it will be assisted by another one body called NSSO. NSSO will collect the data from the field. NSSO is nothing but National Sample Survey Organization. National Sample Survey Organization will collect data from the field, and it will give those data to CSO, and CSO will calculate the national income. So CSO is Central Statistical Office, and NSSO is the National Sample Survey Organization. So for national income, the base year is 2011 to 2012 is the base year for calculating the national income. So these are the things which are relating to national income. Then we have economy planning. Relating planning of economy, there are many plans which are relating to the plan. Relating to the plans of economy. First, during independence, three things we lacked. First one is food. We lacked food. Second, we lacked capital. We didn't have enough capital to do the task. And third one is we lacked technology. We didn't have enough technology during that period. So these three are the major things which we lacked during that period. So we need all these three. So what we focus is food. Food is the first major need, right? So we focus more on the food. So there are many plans which are put before independence itself. Before independence itself, we had many plans. In 1934, Planned Economy of India. Planned Economy of India is by V.K.R.V. Rao. V.K.R.V. Rao is the one who calculated national income in 1930, right? He gave a plan, and that is called as Planned Economy of India. It is by V.K.R.V. Rao. It is published by Vishwesvaraya. It is written by V.K.R.V. Rao, but it will be published by Vishwesvaraya. So Vishwesvaraya is the one who published this, but Planned Economy of India is written by V.K.R.V. Rao. It is in 1934, and Vishwesvaraya is considered as the father of engineering. So it is just a fact. And after 1934, there is another plan. It is 1938. 1938, there is another plan which is called as Nehru Congress Plan. So Nehru report is different. Here Nehru Congress plan. Report will be relating to history, whereas here it is Nehru Congress plan, which is relating to economy. So here it has a thought of, in this plan they had a thought of taking Indian economy in a socialist pattern. So we know about Nehru, right? So Nehru thought of taking Indian economy in a socialist form, because Nehru is a socialist, but we didn't take in that manner. But this plan tells India should be taken in socialist pattern. 1938 Nehru Congress plan. Then we have another plan in 1944. 1944 plan is Bombay plan. So 1944 one is Bombay plan. In Bombay plan, major industrialists will be meeting in that plan, and they will have a thought of bringing our Indian economy in a capitalist form, because industrialists will wish that, because they are private sectors, right? In 1944 Bombay plan, they will plan to bring our Indian economy in a capitalist form. And another one plan in 1944 itself, and that is Gandhian plan. Gandhian plan will be made by Narayana Agarwal. It is a village based economy. Gandhi always preferred village based economy, so it is a village based economy, and it is made by Narayana Agarwal, in which they promoted village based economy. It is also from 1944. And then we have another plan in 1945, and that is called as People plan. People plan is by M.N. Rao. It is also a type of socialism only. People plan is also a type of socialism by M.N. Roy. So then after that we have 1950. 1950 is 1950 another one plan. 1950 another one plan. It is called as Sarvodaya plan. Sarvodaya plan is by Jayaprakash Narayanan. So Sarvodaya plan is by Jayaprakash Narayanan, and it is a type of Gandhian idea only. It is also a type of Gandhian idea. And this Jayaprakash Narayan is a close friend of Subhash Chandra Bose. Okay, so these are the plans which we had before 1950. We had these plans. So what are these plans? First we have in 1934 we had planned economy of India by V.K. R.V. Rao. In 1938 we have Nehru Congress plan, which in which they thought of socialist economy. And in 1944 we have Bombay plan, Nehru Congress plan, and then we have Bombay plan. In Bombay plan they thought of taking Indian economy in a capitalist pattern. And in 1944 we have Gandhian plan. Gandhian plan is by Narayana Agarwal. They thought of taking Indian economy in a village based economy. And 1945 we have People plan. People plan is by M.N. Roy. So it is a type of socialism only. And in 1950 we have another one plan, which is called a Sarvodaya plan, which is by Jayaprakash Narayanan. These are the plans which are put for Indian economy. And then we established a body in 1950 itself, and that body is called as Planning Commission. So Planning Commission will be established in 1950. It is a non-statutory, non-constitutional body. It is non-statutory and a non-constitutional body. Planning Commission will fix a plan for 5 years. So it is the one which is making a 5-year plan. So Planning Commission will set a plan for 5 years, and the chairman of the Planning Commission is Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the chairman of the Planning Commission. And then we have Deputy Chairman. Deputy Chairman is the person who is responsible for allocating the resources, and Deputy Chairman will having more power. Or say we have Deputy Chairman. So okay. Then we have another one body. This body is formed in 1950. It is Planning Commission, in which chairman is Prime Minister, and the most of the power lies in Deputy Chairman. Deputy Chairman is also a cabinet minister. So Deputy Chairman is also a cabinet minister. Then in 1952 another one body called as National Development Council. 1952 another one body called as National Developmental Council, in which PM plus all state CM plus Planning Commission members together formed the National Developmental Council. The final approval of the 5-year plan. 5-year plan will be fixed by the Planning Commission, but the final approval will be given by this National Development Council. NDC, National Development Council, will give the final approval to this 5-year plan. Okay, let us discuss those 5-year plans. First 5-year plan. So first 5-year plan is from 1951 to 1956. First 5-year plan is from 1951 to 1956. It is also called as Herald-Domer model. First 5-year plan 1951 to 56. It is also called as Herald-Domer model. He gave the idea for the plan. Actually, Herald-Domer model. Herald-Domer is the one who gave idea for this. So he got the name Herald Domer model. First 5-year plan is also called as Herald Domer model, and the period is from 1951 to 56, and the main objective is agree. Agree is the main objective of the first 5-year plan. Earlier I have said the major things which we lacked during independence is food, capital and technology. So food is the major need, right? So in first 5-year plan we set the major objective as agriculture. So during the first 5-year plan we started many irrigation work. We spend more money on construction of dams, pond, irrigation, etc. So first 5-year plan only 5 IITs will be set up. So 5 IITs will be set during first 5-year plan. The target for first 5-year plan will be 2.1%. 2.1% is the target of first 5-year plan, and we will be achieving 3.6%, which means that we have achieved the first 5-year plan target. So this is relating to first 5-year plan. First 5-year plan 1951 to 56, and the target is 2.1%, but we achieved 3.6%. It is also called as Herald Domer model. In first 5-year plan, the main objectives are agree, and we set 5 IITs during this first 5-year model only. And we have second 5-year plan. Second 5-year plan period is from 1956 to 61. Second 5-year plan is from 1956 to 61, and it is also called as Mahalanobis model. So Mahalanobis is the one who gave idea for this plan. So Mahalanobis model, it is called as Mahalanobis model, and main objective of the second 5-year plan is industrial development. So I have really said, right, capital and technology we lacked. So industrial development is the main objective of the second 5-year plan, and during this period we also focused on industries, and we created many iron ore industries. Many iron ore industries developed during this period. Example, Rourkela, Odisha, Village, Chhattisgarh, Aurangapur, West Bengal, Avadi, Chennai. Many industries created during this period. So second 5-year plan, they focused on industrial development. In 1956 we have industrial policy. So 1956 there is a industrial policy. So during this period only this is also happened. The target for second 5-year plan is 4.5%, and we didn't achieve it. We achieved 4.3%. So first 5-year plan we have target of around 2.1%, and we achieved 3.6%, whereas in case of second 5-year plan our target is 4.5%, but we achieved only 4.3%. Then second 5-year plan is also called as Mahalanobis model, whereas first 5-year plan is also called as Herald Domer model. Then we have third 5-year plan. Third 5-year plan is period is from 1961 to 1966. So this is the period. It is also called as Sugomi Chakravarti model. Model. Actually, it is the take-off stage. So we are improving. Our India is improving. It is a take-off stage. But during that we had a problem. The objective is self-reliant economy. Still we are talking about self-reliant economy. So in third 5-year plan itself we had this objective. Self-reliant economy is our target. So there are many problems during this third 5-year plan, and those are during 1962. During 1962, Indian-China war. India and China will have a war during 1962. This is one problem during this period. And then in 1964, Nehru death. Nehru died during this period only, and this is the second problem. And in 1965, so Nehru is the builder of modern India, right? So because of the Nehru death also, there are so many problems during the second 5-year plan. We got collapsed. Then in 1965, India-Pakistan war. 1962, China fighter, and in 1965, Pakistan is fighting. So India-Pakistan war. In 1966, Lal Bahadur Shastri died. So in 1964, Nehru died. 1966, Lal Bahadur Shastri died. So because of all these problems that we faced during that period, third 5-year plan failed, and the target for that is 5.6% is the target of third 5-year plan, which is also called as Sugomi Chakravarti model, and the achieved one is 2.8%. In second 5-year also we didn't achieve the target, but 4.5% is the target. We reached around 4.3%. At most we reached, but here 5.6% is the target, but we reached only 2.8% is the only achieved one. So third 5-year plan is a failed one. Then we had planned holiday. So 1961 to 66 there is third 5-year plan. From 66 to 69 there is a planned holiday. For around 3 years there is a planned holiday. But during this planned holiday only two major decisions taken. So those two major decisions are, one is Green Revolution. Green Revolution is adopted during this period only. So Green Revolution period adopted is from 1966 to 67. Green Revolution happened. And then second one is banking nationalization. So Green Revolution is nothing but it is done to increase the fruit production. It is done during during this period, and banking nationalization. So banks are in private hands means they are changing the private banks into public banks. So banking nationalization is done during 1969. These two major things are done during the planned holiday. 1966 to 69 is planned holiday. So during that period, two changes happened. Two major decisions are taken. One is green revolution to increase the food production, banking nationalization. So banking nationalization means banks owned by the corporates. If a bank is owned by corporate, they will not give loan to ordinary agri people, right? So they will change those banks to private sector, public sector. They will change from private to public sector. So 14 banks are changed, 14 banks are nationalized during this period. So this is one thing which happened during this bank holiday. Then we have fourth 5-year plan. Fourth 5-year plan period is from 1969 to 1974. 1969 to 74. It is also called as Ashoka Rudra model. So third 5-year plan is also called as Sugome Chakravarti model. Third 5-year plan is also called as Sugome Chakravarti model. Fourth 5-year plan is also called as Ashok Rudra model. Second 5-year plan is also called as Mahalanobis model. First 5-year plan is also called as Herald Domer model. So in fourth 5-year plan, the main objective is grow with stability. So first 5-year plan, the objective is agriculture. Second 5-year plan, objective is industrialization. Third 5-year plan, objective is what is that? Self-reliant economy. And in fourth 5-year plan, the objective is grow with stability and self-reliant. So grow with stability and self-reliant is the objective of the fourth 5-year plan. The target is 3.8% and we achieved 3.4%, which means that still we have failed in this also. We have failed in second, we have failed in third, we have failed in fourth. The first only we have achieved. So third is considered as the fail because in third there is a great difference. So we have target around 5.6%, but we achieved only 2.8%. So this is in case of fourth 5-year model. And then we have fifth 5-year plan. Fifth 5-year plan period is from 1974 to 1979. Fifth 5-year plan main objective is poverty removal. Poverty removal is the main objective of fifth 5-year plan. And the target is 4.4% and we achieved 4.8%, which means we have achieved first 5-year plan. We have achieved for first 5-year plan as well as fifth 5-year plan. So the target is 4.4%, but we achieved 4.8%. And during this period only, Indira Gandhi said one famous dialogue, Garibi Hato. So Garibi Hato means remove poverty. Garibi Hato means remove poverty. And this is one saying during this fifth 5-year plan. So the target is poverty removal. And in fifth 5-year plan, cancelled or stopped in the middle due to some political reasons. It will not be continued and it will be stopped in the mid. So 79 up to 79 it will not be continued, but it will be stopped in the mid. In 78 to 79 there will be planned holiday, and from 79 to 80 also there will be planned holiday. So 78 itself it is stopped, but still it is achieved. But 78 it will be stopped, and 78 to 79 is planned holiday, as well as 79 to 80 is planned holiday. During this planned holiday also we had done certain major decisions. We have taken another two major decisions. One is rolling plan. The rolling plan is introduced during this period. In 1978 it came and 1980 it stopped. Rolling plan is famous for Japan. Rolling plan is one thing which is done in Japan. So we have introduced that rolling plan during 1978 and we have cancelled it during 1980 itself. And another one major thing which we have done is 1980 we have nationalized another 6 banks. Earlier we have nationalized 14 banks, right? Plus we have nationalized another 6 banks during this period. And then comes the sixth 5-year plan. Sixth 5-year plan period is from 1982 to 1985. 1982 to 85. The multiple objectives are during the sixth 5-year plan, and those are poverty removal, creating employment, increase national income. So national income should be increased, employment should be increased, and poverty should be removed. These are the multiple objectives which are in sixth 5-year plan. And we have done many things during this period also. Family planning is also introduced during this period only. Family planning is introduced during this period. Target is 5.2% and we have achieved 5.5%, which means we have achieved the sixth 5-year plan. First 5-year plan achieved, fifth 5-year plan achieved, sixth 5-year plan achieved. Then third 5-year plan is the most failed one. And then we have seventh 5-year plan. Seventh 5-year plan period is from 1985 to 1990. 1985 to 90 is the third 5-year plan. And the main objective is food production, employment generation, and increase the productivity. So increase the productivity, food production, and employment generation are the major objectives during the 7th 5-year plan, which means that 7th 5-year plan also had multiple objectives. The target is 5.0, but achieved is only 6.0. We have achieved 6.0, but the target is 5.0, which means that we have achieved the 7th 5-year plan. We have achieved the first 5-year plan, 5th, and then 6th, and then 7th we have achieved. So these are the things. After 90 there will be major issue. This is most important one. After 90 we have an issue called as economic crisis. We had a major economic crisis, and there is forex crisis. We didn't have forex reserves. What is this forex? Forex is the foreign exchange, the money which is needed for exchange with the foreigners. Say dollar is a foreign exchange. We can say dollar, we can say gold mouse, or the forex. So we didn't have forex during this 1990 period. We didn't have forex, and it is a major issue during that period. So we need amount, we need to borrow from someone. So our entire countries don't having amount, means we need to borrow it from the international organizations, right? So we went to an international organization. So relating international organization, you need to know these two. First one is World Bank, second one is IMF. So World Bank is the one which give loan for the developmental projects. It give loan for the developmental projects, whereas IMF, International Monetary Fund, is the loan which it is an organization which gives loan during the financial crisis. Now we are in financial crisis, right? So in 1990 we had a financial crisis and we need money. So if we need money during financial crisis, then we should go to International Monetary Fund, and we should not go to World Bank. World Bank will give money only for developmental projects. So we went to IMF in need of money, but IMF will lay certain conditions to India. So before 1990 we had a closed economy. So IMF will say to open our economy, and that is LPG. IMF will say for LPG. LPG is nothing but liberalization, privatization, and globalization. So what is this liberalization? Liberalization means already public only doing certain things, but private can start now. That is liberalization. So say if there is only public buses, then government is giving permission for private also to run business, then it is liberalization. Then privatization means and privates can newly start it, and globalization means foreign company can come. So foreign companies, we are so closed before that, so we are allowing foreign companies to start their businesses in India. That is globalization. So these are the things which are said by the International Monetary Fund. But we are in a very much need of forex reserve. We are in very much need of money. So we accepted this LPG policy, and after this only there are major changes that happened during that period. So IMF will give money as SDR only. IMF will not give dollar or anything. IMF will give money as SDR. SDR is like a paper gold. SDR means a special drawing, right? So SDR will have a value like dollar. SDR will have a value, and it can be converted to dollar. SDR can be converted to dollar. So SDR is the amount which is given by IMF, and SDR means special drawing, right? So we have seen up to 7th 5-year plan. Then 1990 to 1991 it is a planned holiday. So we are in economic crisis, right? So 1990 to 1991 there is a planned holiday. After that becomes 8th 5-year plan. 8th 5-year plan period is from 1992 to 1997. It is called as W. Miller model. It is called as W. Miller model, and the main objective is the implementation of LPG. So just now we have accepted LPG to IMF, right? So IMF has said LPG as the objective. So, LPG as the basic requirement for giving money. So we have accepted it. So we should implement it, right? So main objective is implementation of LPG, and then we have a target as 5.6%, and we achieved 6.8%, which means that 8th 5-year plan is also achieved by us. Then we have, it is called a W. Miller model. Then we have 9th 5-year plan. 9th 5-year plan period is from 1997 to 2002 is the 9th 5-year plan. The 9th 5-year plan objective is development with social justice and equity. Development with social justice and equity. What is this equity? Equity is different from equality. Equality means everyone is treating equal. Say you are having 10 rupees and you need to give it to two persons. So you are giving 5 rupees to one and 5 rupees to one, means that is equality. Whereas equity is different. Say in equity case, you are having 10 rupees and you are having two persons, and you need to distribute this 10 rupees between two. And he is so poor, he didn't have any money, but he is having 5 rupees with him. Then what you will do is, say he is having around 10 rupees. Then you will distribute this money. You need to distribute this money. Say Let us say that this person is having 8 rupees, this person is having no money, and you are having 10 rupees, and you need to distribute this 10 rupees among these two. Then you will give 2 rupees to him and 8 rupees to him. Say, if you are giving in this manner, then it is called as equity. You are treating them, you are giving amount so that they can come equal. So it is equity. So to make them come equal, so example for this is, we can say reservation for SC ST is an example for this equity. So reservation, SC and ST are given special reservation just to bring them equal to you, just to bring them compete with you. It is given, right? So it is equity. So 95-year plan is social development, development with social justice and equity. The target for 9th 5-year plan is 6.5%, and we have achieved 5.4%, which means 9th 5-year plan we failed. 3rd 5-year plan also failed. So 9th 5-year plan also failed. So this has been failed due to Asian financial crisis. During this period, there is a financial crisis called as Asian financial crisis. Because of this, we failed in 9th 5-year plan. Then comes 10th 5-year plan. 10th 5-year plan period is from 2002 to 2007. 2002 to 2007, and the objective is per capital income should be doubled in the next 10 years. So per capital income, we have already said about per capital income, right? National income divided by the population is equal to per capita income. So it should be doubled in the next 10 years is the target for the 10th 5-year plan. And 8% GDP is also another one target, a growth of 8% of GDP. And gender gap reduced. Gender gap is the amount of women as well as amount of men. There will be a ratio and it should be reduced. If there are 1000 women, then there should be 1000 men. This means that there is no gender gap. So gender gap should be reduced, and it is an objective of 10th 5-year plan. And then infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate is how many children die in a birth out of 100 is the infant mortality rate. Reducing infant mortality rate, reducing the gender gap, and increasing the GDP, and increasing the per capita income, doubling the per capita income within a period of 10 years. And maternity mortality rate. Maternity mortality rate is how many women died out of 1 lakh deliveries. Out of 1 lakh deliveries, how many women died is maternity mortality rate. So in reducing the infant mortality rate as well as maternity mortality rate, as well as reducing the gender gap, and also increasing the per capita income, doubling the per capita income within a period of 10 years, and GDP 8% are the major targets, major objectives of the 10th 5-year plan. And then comes 11th 5-year plan. The 11th 5-year plan is also called as Rangarajan model. 11th 5-year plan is also called as Rangarajan model, and the objective is inclusive growth. Inclusive means growing all the departments. Growing all the departments, grow with all. So growing all the departments with social development is inclusive growth. 11th 5-year plan is objective is inclusive growth. So the target is around 8 to 10%, and we achieved 8%. So during this period, during this 11th 5-year plan, around 70 million new jobs has been created during this plan, and we have also achieved it. So 6 to 10% is the target, and we have achieved it. This is relating to 11th 5-year plan. Then we have 12th 5-year plan. 12th 5-year plan is from 2012 to 2017. Their target is faster, sustainable, and more inclusive growth. Faster, sustainable, and more inclusive growth. Sustainability means leaving the resources for our future use is sustainability. So the target is 9% GDP and 4% agri development. In that 9% GDP growth, 4% agri development, 10% manufacturing development, and 10% reduction in poverty. These are the targets. And we also had a target of creating 50 million new jobs to be created, and reducing the infant mortality rate, maternity mortality rate, child sex ratio, everything also fixed as a target. And increased mean school year and increasing forest cover is also the target, which means that in 12th 5-year plan we had multiple objectives: increasing the forest cover, increasing the mean school year, reducing the IMR, reducing the MMR, child sex ratio, and agri development, everything, for reducing the poverty, increasing the investment, increasing the infrastructure, everything comes under the objective of 12th 5-year plan. Then After this, we had a change in government during this phase itself. We have change in government during 2014. Because of this change in government, the new government abolished this planning commission. The planning commission, which was established in 1950, is abolished by this new government, and a new body was created, and that new body is called as Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog is a new body which was created by the new government, and Niti Aayog is full form of Niti Aayog is National Institution for Transforming India. A national institution for transforming India. Niti Aayog is created. It is an executive body. So Niti Aayog is an executive body. Earlier we have seen National Commission is also an executive body. It is also an executive body. Niti Aayog will allocate the resources directly. So Niti Aayog is the one which allocates the resources directly, which has been created. It allocates the resources directly. So example for Niti Aayog. What are the things which Niti Aayog have earlier done is NEET exam. NEET exam is recommended by this Niti Aayog only, and the railway privatization. Railway privatization is also recommended by this Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog chairman is Prime Minister. Earlier also in Planning Commission also chairman is Prime Minister, and it has a deputy chairman. Earlier also we had a deputy chairman. Deputy chairman is the one who is responsible for allocating the resources, and he has more power in hands. Likewise, here deputy chairman plays an active role, and PM is not the one who is playing the active role. The first deputy chairman is Aravind Pannakaria. Aravind Pannakaria is the first deputy chairman. Aravind Pannakaria is the first deputy chairman, and then we have some members. So some ex officio members. Apart from them, we have ex officio. Apart from the chairman and the deputy chairman, we have ex officio members, and those ex officio members are 4 union ministers. So 4 union minister comes under this ex officio members. They are Home Minister, Finance Minister, Railway Minister, and Agri Minister come under this ex officio members. And then apart from this ex officio members, we have full-time members. Some members will be full-time appointed in this Niti Aayog, full-time members, plus we have part-time members. We have some part-time members, and we also have some special invitees. So special invitees, example, Ministry of Human Resource Development, Ministry of Transport. We have some special invitees, and also we have a governing council. We have a council. In this council, we have PM, all state CM. For UT, we have Lieutenant Governor. Everything will be included in this governing council. So these are the things which are in Niti Aayog. So functions of the Niti Aayog is government policy formulation. It formulates the policies. So government policy formulation. Then best practices from other countries will be brought to India. So if there is any best practices, for example, rolling plant, we have brought it, right? Rolling plant is good in Japan, so we have brought it. And 6-year plan is from 6-year plan, Russia had 6-year plan, and we brought it, right? So if there is any best practices outside India, then it will be brought into India. It is also one of the function of Niti Aayog. Then cooperative federalism, urban development, example, smart city. Smart city is an urban development, right? So everything will be done by this as Niti Aayog. And then we have sustainable development and poverty elimination are also the functions of Niti Aayog. These are the functions of Niti Aayog. Then we have inflation. So what is inflation? So time. So inflation, what is inflation? Inflation is nothing but the persistent rise of price. So persistent rise of price is called as inflation. So say if you are buying a packet of milk for 10 rupees today, and if you are buying the same packet of milk for 20 rupees next day, and if you are buying the same packet of milk for 40 rupees the next day. So if the price is continuously rising, if there is a persistent rise of price of the goods, then it is called as inflation. So inflation, the reasons for inflation, if there is more money in the market, if the money supply increased in the market, then this leads to inflation. So if you are having 10k, then you can buy only for the 10k. If your salary has been suddenly made to 100k, if you are suddenly getting 100k, you can give much amount of money to buy any goods, right? You will have more amount of money in your hand, so that you can spend more, right? So because of that, price of the goods will also be increased. If you are having more amount of money, then the price of the goods will also be increased, right? So because of the amount of money supply, also price will increase. And reducing the purchase power by all this, by the persistent rise in price level, as also by the increase in the money supply, the purchasing power of the people will be reduced. Say if a packet of milk is sold 10 rupees today, and if the same packet of milk is sold for 100 rupees the next day, then not everyone can afford this 100 rupees to buy this packet of milk, right? So the purchasing power of the people will be subsequently reduced by this. And This is called as inflation. So inflation, we have persistent rise in price, and we also have money supply will be increased, and the purchasing power of the people will have lesser purchasing power. This is called as inflation. And inflation, money value will be reduced. So how we can say money value is reduced? So if a milk packet is sold for 10 rupees today, and if it is sold for 100 rupees tomorrow, then the 90 rupees, there is no worth for this 90 rupees, right? So the money value, the value of the amount of value of the money is reduced. So it is same, milk is 1 liter only, the same amount of milk is bought for 100 rupees tomorrow, but it is sold for 10 rupees today, means the money value is reduced. So in inflation, money value will be reduced. So what is deflation? So we have a diagram. So this is the diagram. So this is the amount, the money is increasing, so the price of the goods is increasing, and that is called as inflation. So up to this, it is called as inflation. Inflation is the persistent rise of the good price level. Persistent rise in price level is called as inflation. After that, we need to reduce it, and that is called as disinflation. So disinflation is nothing but the price has been already increased, but we are in a need to decrease that, right? So inflation coming down, but not in the negative level. This is the actual price. Say actual price, normally it will be 100 rupees. During inflation time, it has reached 1000 rupees. We need to bring back it to 100 rupees, right? That is called as disinflation. Disinflation means inflation coming down, but not in negative level. If it is going down in negative level, normally it will be sold in 100 rupees. If it is going beneath that, and if it is reaching around 10 rupees, then it is called as deflation. So what is this deflation? Deflation is exactly opposite to inflation. So deflation is the decrease of price goods. The persistent decrease of price goods is called as deflation. So inflation will affect the consumer. So consumer will be getting affected by this inflation, and this deflation will affect the producer. So in case of inflation, you and me can't buy the goods for that price, right? If the prices has been increased, then consumer can't buy that price. In case of deflation, producer can't produce the good within that 10 rupees, right? So deflation affects the producer, whereas in case of inflation, it affects the consumer. Then we have reflation. What is this reflation? The prices level go down in negative level. During this period, government will try to increase the price level. So government will try to increase this price level, and it is called as reflation. So first we have inflation. It is the persistent rise in price level. Then we have disinflation. Disinflation is the inflation coming down, but not in negative level. If the inflation is going down in negative level, if the prices has reduced normal, if the prices has been reduced lesser than that of the normal price, then it is called as deflation. It is opposite to inflation, and it decreases the price of the goods, and it is deflation. During deflation, it will affect the producer, so the government will interfere, and it will try to increase the goods to normal level, and it is called as reflation. So these are the these are the major terms in inflation. And then we have stagflation. Okay, let us go. So stagflation is nothing but inflation plus unemployment. Nowadays we are facing this only. We have inflation as well as we have unemployment. So if there is inflation plus unemployment, then it is called as stagflation. What are the reasons for inflation? We have two reasons for inflation. One is demand pull inflation, another one is cost push inflation. Demand pull inflation is nothing but there is a mismatch in demand and supply that leads to inflation. That is demand pull inflation. For example, we can say population also we can say, if there is a population increases, then demand will increase. Supply, and the supply is same, then inflation will increase. So price of the goods will increase, right? So if there is a mismatch in the demand and supply, it leads to demand pull inflation. This is one of the reason for inflation. Example, for people, the population has been increasing, then the demand for that good is increasing. If the supply is remaining the same, then inflation, then prices will increase. So this is in case of demand pull inflation. Then government is increasing expenditure. So how government will increase expenditure? Say government is spending so much amount of money in infrastructure development, means it will create more amount of jobs. So it will spend more amount of money, it will give more amount of money inside the market, right? If the government spend, it will be introduced into the market, so market will obtain more money, so money flow will be increased. By increasing the money flow, the money value will be reduced. But if the money value is reduced, then it means inflation. So if the government expenditure increases, then it may give rise to inflation. Then another one reason is black money. So black money is also another one cause of inflation. For example, for black money, we don't know whether it is black money or not. If the black money circulation has increased, then automatically it will lead to increase in the money supply. We don't know whether it is black or white. So if the black money will also lead to increase in money supply. If there is increase in money supply, then it will lead to cost of the products will be increased. It will automatically lead to inflation. So if more money supply, if RBI started to print more amount of money, then automatically it will also result in inflation. These are the demand pull inflation. Then we have another one reason called as cost push inflation. Cost push inflation is nothing but if the raw material cost has been increased, then automatically inflation will exist. So cost push inflation, say we are using cotton. If the cotton cost itself has been changed to 500 means, then the shirt cost will be changed to 5 lakh. So if the input cost is increased, then automatically the product cost will be increased. If the product cost is increased, then automatically it will lead to inflation. So this is cost push inflation. For example, crude oil price rises. If the crude oil price rises, automatically the cost of petrol will be raised. If the cost of the petrol will be raised, then the transportation cost will be raised. If the transportation cost will rise, then the cost of all the commodities will rise, and this will lead to inflation. So the major effects of the inflation is erode the purchasing power. The purchasing power of the people will be eroded by this inflation, and then it will reduce the consumption. Say if you are we can say onion as an example. So if the onion price is 200 today, earlier we have bought onion for 50 rupees. Today the onion price is 200 rupees. Earlier we have bought 2 kilos of onion. If the onion price is 200 rupees now, then we will buy only half kg of onion, which means we have reduced our consumption. So inflation will force the consumers to reduce the consumption. So consumption will be reduced, purchasing power. The people is not having the ability to purchase, right? The purchasing power will be reduced, and it will also increase the gap between the rich and the poor. Rich and the poor gap will be increased. Why? Because rich will have the amount to spend. So he will spend. Even if the price has been hiked, he will have the ability to spend, but the poor will not have the ability to spend. So it will increase the gap between the rich and the poor. It will also reduce the employment and growth. So these are the effects of inflation. And inflation relating borrowing. So inflation is good for borrowers. So you have borrowed. Say you have borrowed around 10 rupees from me, and after inflation, say you have borrowed 10 lakhs. So you have borrowed 10 lakhs from me, and after inflation, this 10 lakh, in this 10 lakh, you can just buy a coffee. So during this inflation, you will give this 10 lakh back to me. So this coffee costed around 10 rupees during before inflation. At that point, I have given you 10 lakh rupees, but you will give back this 10 lakh rupees during this inflation time, so that it will affect the lender. So I have lended you 10 lakhs, so I am affected during inflation. So it will affect the lender, and it will be good for borrower. Inflation will be good for borrower, and it will be bad for lender. Who is the biggest money lender? So who is the biggest money lender? So government, bank is the biggest money lender. So bank will be getting affected by this inflation. So what is inflationary gap? So government expenditure, if the government expenditure is more than the national income, it is called as inflationary gap. So government is spending something, right? It is called as government expenditure. The government expenditure is greater than the national income, it is called as inflationary gap. What is deflationary gap? Shortfall in government spending. So government expenditure is less, then it is called as deflationary gap. First one is inflationary gap, in which government expenditure is greater than national income. In deflationary gap, government expenditure is less, so government spending is less. There are two ways of inflation. One is headline inflation. Headline inflation is the normal inflation which we see, and it is simply inflation. We won't say it as headline inflation. That simply, if we say it as inflation, then it is headline inflation. And another one inflation is called as core inflation. So in headline inflation, it includes the food plus energy. Inflation of all the goods, including the food and energy, is added. So say most volatile is food is more volatile. So example, onion price today it will be something, tomorrow it will change. Daily the prices of the commodity, food commodities will be changing day by day time, from morning to evening it may change, right? So by adding the food and energy inflation, if it is calculated, then it is called as headline inflation or normal inflation. If it is subtracted, if the inflation is calculated excluding the food and energy, then it is called as core inflation, because both food as well as energy is volatile. Generally, headline inflation is called as inflation. And what are the inflationary measuring methods? There are two ways to measure inflation. One is WPA, another one is CPA. WPA is the wholesale price index, whereas CPA is the consumer price index. WPA is wholesale price index and CPA is the consumer price index. Earlier we have seen NNP, MC and MMPFC. In NNP, MC it is factor cost, national net national product, which in factor cost, as well as net national product in market cost. Here we see WPA and CPA. WPA is wholesale price index, whereas CPA is consumer price index. So here also we will have a basket of goods and services, and the sum of the amount of the everything will be calculated, and it will be mentioned in the wholesale price. WPA is on producer level because it uses the wholesale price. So it is on WPA will be on producer level because it uses the wholesale price, and they compare it with the base year. So base year around, if you say base year is 2011 to 12, it will be compared with the base year, and the if it will be compared with the base year, and the amount will be calculated. So that is, and the difference will be calculated. Say if you are buying if you are buying a basket of goods for 100 rupees in 2011 to 12, and if you are buying the same basket of goods for 10 lakh rupees for in this 2021, then it means we are having an inflation, right? So inflation is compared. So the cost of the goods and services of the goods will be compared with the base year, and the inflation will be calculated. If it is if the cost is kept in wholesale price, then it is called as wholesale price index. If it is kept in consumer price, it is called the consumer price index. In wholesale price index, it is on producer level, whereas consumer price index, it is on consumer level. So in consumer level, we have the price of the consumers may vary, right? The measured price of the basket will be on consumer level. CPA uses both goods and services. The difference between WPA and CPA is in WPA they use only the goods. So they uses products and goods in the basket. Service is not added during wholesale price index, whereas in case of consumer price index, both goods as well as services are added. This is one important point. In wholesale, services is not added, whereas in consumer, services is also added. CPA is divided into three, where one is CPA for industrial workers, second one is CPA for agricultural and rural level, and third one is CPA for rural and urban combined. So all these will be combined by Central Statistical Office. CSO is the one which is calculating national income, right? Here during inflation also, all these three will be combined by the Central Statistical Office, and Labor Bureau calculates the CPA for the industrial workers, and CPA for agri and rural will be, and CPA for the rural and urban combined will be calculated by Central Statistical Office. So CPA for the first one, CPA for industrial workers alone will be calculated by the Labor Bureau. Labor Bureau will calculate that, whereas CPA for the agricultural and rural level and the CPA for the urban and rural combined 2 and 3 will be done by the CSO, and all these three will be combined by CSO only. So in case of wholesale price index, the Office of Economic Advisor will measure it and calculate it. The Office of Economic Advisor will measure the goods, and he is the one who calculates. So in case of that, here consumer price index is calculated by CSO. So in this CSO, the base year is 2016 is the base year, and currently in India, RBI calculates inflation by CPI only. So RBI is the one which calculates. It calculates based on the consumer price index only. So precise calculation can be done by CPI than compared to WPA. So precise calculation can be done by CPA compared to that of WPA. Generally, if we say inflation in percentage, it is calculated by CPA. If calculated by WPA, we say it as WPA inflation. So if it is calculated by WPA, we say it as WPA inflation. So these are the things. So if I say it is a wholesale, for in farm we have produced onions. In farm we have produced onions, and that onions will be brought by wholesale, brought as a wholesale, and here it is WPA, and it will be sold to retail shops, and from that retail shop you and me will buy that, right? It is consumer. So if we calculate here, it is called as CPI. So if it is calculated in this wholesale, it is WPA. If it is calculated on retail, it is CPI. There are two types of inflation. There are three. uh, there are three types of inflation which we can say. One is creeping inflation or walking inflation. Creeping inflation is low and predictable. So inflation is in single digit, say 6%. Inflation 3%. You can't guess say that inflation is always negative. Inflation is not always negative. It is also has some positives. So there should be little amount of inflation. So inflation, if there is no inflation, it will affect the producer. So there should be little amount of inflation that will not affect the producer as well as the consumer. So if there is a single digit inflation, then it is called as creeping inflation. If there is a double digit or triple digit inflation, then it is called as galloping inflation. So if there is double or triple digit inflation, then it is called as galloping inflation. If there is a inflation in million level, trillion level, then it is called as hyperinflation. These are the types of inflation. First one is creeping inflation or walking inflation, in which inflation is in single digit, whereas in galloping inflation, the inflation is in double digit or triple digit, whereas hyperinflation, the inflation is in trillion level or million level. So this is the types of inflation. Inflation will affect the contract laborers. For example, if there is a contract labor, you will be paid 10,000 each month, and they will say it will be for 3 years. This will be the contract. So after 1 year, inflation happened, and during this inflation period, within this 10k rupees, you can buy just a cup of coffee. So this will affect the contracted labors much. So during inflation, this will affect contract labors. So inflation will automatically lead to unemployment. As unemployment increases, murder, robbery will be increased. So by this, safety will be reduced, and by all these, nutritional level will be reduced. By the decrease in nutritional level, the diseases will be increased. So inflation increases unemployment. So this increases unemployment, increases murder. This reduces safety. Nutritional level will also be reduced. This increases the disease possibilities. So these are the things which are in inflation. Then we have certain controlling measures of inflation. And those controlling measures, or the person who controls inflation is RBI. RBI is the one who controls inflation, and Government of India is the one who is the main reason for inflation. So Government of India will increase the expenditure, and which will lead to inflation. By RBI is the one who will control the inflation. There are certain tools of RBI to control this inflation, and the main tool is monetary policy. Monetary policy is the main tool of RBI to control inflation. One is quantitative tool, another one is qualitative tool. One is quantitative tool, another one is qualitative tool. Quantitative tool, there are many quantitative tools. Quantitative tool is the most important one. Qualitative tool is not so important. So in quantitative tool, first one is bank rate. We have cash reserve ratio. We have statutory liquid ratio. We have repo rate. After that, we have reverse repo rate, as well as we have marginal standing facility. These are the quantitative tools to control inflation. First of all, let us discuss about cash reserve ratio. So cash reserve ratio, what is cash reserve ratio? So cash reserve ratio is nothing but government should keep some amount of money with them. The bank should keep some amount of money. So RBI Act in 1934, in this year, RBI Act in 1934, in this, under the Schedule 2, there is there are some banks under the Schedule 2, and that banks are called as scheduled banks or scheduled commercial banks. In this scheduled banks, foreign banks won't exist in this. So scheduled banks have to keep some amount of money with the deposit in RBI. So with RBI, they need to keep some amount of money, and that is called as cash reserve ratio. Monetary policy is announced by RBI 2 months once. So monetary policy will be announced by RBI 2 months once. If it is announcing CRR as 4%, this 4% of amount will be kept with RBI. The bank should give 4% of the money to RBI. So RBI will not give interest for this 4% of amount. So let us say the a bank is having 1,000 rupees, and if the CRS is announced as 4%, then the bank should give 40 rupees to the RBI. So for this 40 rupees, RBI will not give any interest rate. That is called as cash reserve ratio. So what we can do with this cash reserve ratio? How to reduce this? how to manage inflation with this cash reserve ratio? By increasing the cash reserve ratio. So if the bank is having 1,000 rupees, it will give money to the borrowers, right? So by increasing this cash reserve ratio, we can suck the money out of the market. The money will be sucked from the market, right? From 4%, if we increase the cash reserve ratio to 6%, then 60 rupees will be kept with RBA, which means we have taken away 20 rupees from them, right? So by increasing the cash reserve ratio, we can control the inflation. And statutory liquid ratio, by increasing the statutory liquid ratio also, we can reduce the inflation. So what is statutory liquid ratio? Each and every scheduled bank, so scheduled banks are the banks which are under the schedule 2 under the RBA Act 1934. So each and every scheduled bank need to keep 15%, say. So if it needs to keep 15% of its money as a deposit like thing in a easily convertible format. So if I say easily convertible format, it can be kept as government bond, it can be kept as dollars, it can be kept as gold, or it can be kept as money itself. So some amount of money should be kept in the bank itself as in a easily convertible format, and that is called a statutory liquid ratio, and it should be always kept, it should not be taken away. So it should be kept aside in a easily convertible format. This is SLR. So by increasing SLR, it can be the amount of money which is on the market can be reduced, right? So in 100 rupees, if the bank needed to keep only 10 rupees, this 90 rupees will be given to the lenders, right? It's given to the borrowers, right? So instead, if I say 20 rupees should be kept, only 80 can be given to borrowers. So by increasing SLR also, we can reduce the inflation. And another one is we have bank rate. Bank rate is nothing but it is the interest rate charged by RBA for long-term loan. So if a scheduled bank or scheduled commercial bank is getting a loan from RBA, RBA will charge interest, right? If the interest rate charged by the RBA for long-term loan is called as bank rate, it will be around 8%. See, it will be approximately around 8%. By increasing the bank rate, say if a bank is getting, so scheduled banks, the banks won't give have money actually. RBA is the one which is giving money for this banks. So RBA will have many amounts. So say RBA is having 100 rupees. There are 3 banks. RBA will give 20 rupees for this bank, 20 rupees for this bank, and 20 rupees for this bank. So RBA is the one which lend money for this scheduled banks, and this scheduled bank is the one which is lending money for us. So this RBA, for lending money, RBA will charge an interest rate, right? The interest rate which is charged by the RBA for long-term loans comes under the bank rate. So bank rate is the interest rate which is charged by the RBA for long-term loan. So if it charges high, then automatically some amount of money will come back to RBA, right? If it charges a high percentage, then some amount of money will come back. So by that also we can reduce the inflation. Then what is repo rate? Repo rate is the interest rate charged by RBA for short term loans. So repo rate and bank rate are almost same. For bank rate is the interest rate charged by RBA for long term loans, whereas repo rate is the bank interest rate which is charged by RBA for the short term loans. So repo rate around 9%. Actually, there will always be around 1% difference between bank rate as well as repo rate. Bank rate and repo rate will always have 1% difference. So always repo rate will be higher than bank rate, because mostly scheduled banks will be getting short term loans. Most of the corporate companies will be getting short term loans. Because of this fact, mostly repo rate will be higher than that of bank rate. So by increasing this also, we can reduce the inflation. And reverse repo rate. Reverse repo rate is opposite to that of inflation, or opposite to that of reverse repo rate is opposite to that of repo rate. Reverse repo rate, RBA can borrow and outside give interest. So earlier I have said one in which there should be certain amount of money which is given to RBA, and that is called as cash reserve ratio. In cash reserve ratio, some amount of money should be given to RBA, and in that RBA will not give interest rate, whereas in case of reverse repo rate, RBA will give interest rate for this. So RBA will get money from the commercial bank, and it will also be around 1% less than the repo rate. So this RRR will also be fixed by fixed by the RBI only. So RBI is the one who is borrowing, but still RBI is the one who is fixing the rate. So the rate will also be fixed by RBI only. So in case of reverse repo rate, it should be increased. So if it is said 8%, so you can guess. If it is reverse repo rate, it is increased to reduce the inflation. In case of reverse repo rate also, it is increased. Why means in reverse repo rate, if a bank is there and it gives money to the corporate companies in 10% interest. If RBI has increased the reverse repo rate to 15%, then bank will give that money to RBI itself, right? So if it has reduced, then it will not give to RBI. If the RBI has increased with the interest rate, then automatically bank will get impressed and it will give to RBI, so that it can get interest from the RBI interest itself, right? So reverse repo rate should be increased to suck the money out of the market. So reverse repo rate will be increased. Then we have another thing called as marginal standing facility. So marginal standing facility, RBI gives money overnight without collateral or surety. So if there is if there is a sudden need of money, then RBI will give it overnight, and that is called as a marginal standing facility. Interest rate for this will be higher than repo rate as well as bank rate. So first, bank rate will have a repo rate lesser than that of repo rate. So repo rate will be higher than that of bank rate. So then in this marginal standing facility will have a interest rate higher than that of repo rate. So in case of marginal standing facility also, it will be increased. So simply you can remember, to control inflation, money should be sucked out of the market. To suck the money out of the market, cash reserve ratio can be increased, statutory liquid ratio can be increased, and bank rate can be increased. Bank rate can be increased, repo rate can be increased, reverse repo rate can be increased, and a monetary statutory fund, right? Monetary standing facility can be increased. By increasing all this, we can suck money out of the market. These are the things which are seen in inflation. So that is these are the things which come in the basics of economy. In next class we can discuss all other things in detail. Subscribe to My Laminate IAS Academy. Subscribe to My Laminate IAS Academy. Thank you.